Your Excellency the President, Your Excellency the Deputy President, Your Excellency the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the leadership of Parliament as led by the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honorable Attorney General, Cabinet Secretaries present, Principal Secretaries present, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Your Excellency, sir, this state ceremony is convened pursuant to Article 115 of the Constitution to accord presidential assent to the Division of Revenue Bill 2025 of the National Assembly. The bill was considered by the Houses of Parliament as follows. The bill was first introduced in the National Assembly on 14th March 2025 and passed on 9th April without amendments. The bill was thereafter forwarded to the Senate on 15th April, which considered and passed it on 28th May with amendments and referred it back to the National Assembly for consideration. The Senate amendments entail changing the year of the audited and approved revenues from the financial year 2020-2021, which had a revenue amount of 1.57 trillion, to that of fiscal year 2021-2022, with a revenue figure of Kenya shillings 1.92 trillion. The other critical amendment was the revision of the county allocation from the proposed Kenya shillings 405.1 billion to Kenya shillings 465 billion. The National Assembly considered and rejected the Senate amendments on 3rd June, which essentially committed the bill to a mediation committee in accordance with the provisions of Article 112(2)(b) and 113 of the Constitution. The National Assembly and the Senate considered and approved the version of the bill proposed by the Mediation Committee on 19th June and 30th June, respectively, thereby concluding the bicameral consideration of the bill. Your Excellency, the bill proposes a shareable revenue of Kenya shillings 2.835 trillion between the two levels of government by allocating the national government Kenya shillings 2.419 trillion and the county governments 405.1 billion. The bill, as passed by the two houses, made the following provisions in sharing the nationally raised revenue for the fiscal year 2025-2026. The national government's equitable share of Kenya shillings 2.332 trillion and the county equitable share of Kenya shillings 415 billion, and equalization fund of Kenya shillings 9.6 billion. The bill revised the projected ordinary revenue for fiscal year 2025-2026 downwards from the initial Kenya shillings 2.835 trillion to Kenya shillings 2.756 trillion. This was necessitated by new realities in the economy, where ordinary revenue has always performed below target, hence the need to be within a realistic projection. Your Excellency, with the National Assembly having dutifully discharged its legislative mandate, it is now your prerogative as head of state and government to graciously exercise the powers conferred upon you under Article 115 of the Constitution and assent to the bill. With your kind permission, sir, may I now invite the Clerk of the National Assembly to present the vellum copies of the bill for your consideration and assent.
Your Excellency, I have the instructions of the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Speaker of the Senate to place before you the vellum copies of the Division Revenue Bill for your assent. This bill, Your Excellency, was introduced in the National Assembly by the member for Alego Usonga, who is also the chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, has gone through the legislative ping-pong process of the two houses, eventually having been passed through a mediated process. The ping-pong process, Your Excellency, necessitated a mediation process wherein the two speakers appointed a committee to spearhead the mediation so as to share the revenue amongst the national government and the county levels of government. At the table of sharing the revenue was the national government and its corporate entity, that is the National Executive, Parliament, and the Judiciary, and the 47 counties. The Senate insisted on 465 billion, and National Assembly had its figure of 405 billion. Having been advised by the National Treasury, given the revenue projections, the two houses agreed to give the counties 415 billion, which is to be shared after using the new formula now, Your Excellency, which has been agreed by the two houses at the fourth generation formula. That amount will be shared amongst the 47 counties using the county allocation revenue bill, which will be introduced upon the publication of this bill, Your Excellency. The national government has been allocated 2.3 trillion, which has already been appropriated under the Appropriation Act, which you assented to last week, and that was done after the two houses have agreed on the figure. There is also an amount, Your Excellency, which has been set aside to assist in equalization, which is 9.3 billion, Your Excellency, which has been set aside for equalization fund. This bill, Your Excellency, now sees our counties receiving 21.6% of the revenue that is projected to be collected, as compared to the 15%, which is a constitutional requirement. Your Excellency, the counties have also been cushioned from any reduction in revenue collected, so that should there be any disruption of the economy, is the national government that's likely to suffer, as opposed to our 47 county governments, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, you recall last year when that happened, we had to amend the division of revenue bill at that time, so that the two levels of government at that time could share the loss that was occasioned by low collection of revenue because of disruption of the economy. This time, Your Excellency, the two houses have agreed to cushion the counties from that provision, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, this means that this bill now having been assented to, it will pave way for introduction of the county allocation revenue bill to share the money amongst the 47 counties, Your Excellency. Permit me, Your Excellency, to now retire my commission for the day at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Your Excellency's assent, the bill is now formally entered into the role of laws of the Republic of Kenya. By your signature, sir, they have acquired the full legal force and become a part of the country's body of laws. Your Excellency, as we draw this ceremony to a close, may I most graciously invite you to present a signed copy of the Act to His Excellency the Deputy President, who shares with you the heavy burden of steering the management of the nation as your principal assistant. If it pleases you, sir, you may also kindly present copies to the Prime Cabinet Secretary, to the Attorney General for publication into law, and to the Cabinet Secretary for the Treasury for implementation. As a symbolic reaffirmation of the interdependence between the legislature and the executive in the governance of public affairs, Your Excellency may graciously present copies of the Act to the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Leader of the Majority Party in the National Assembly, and other members of Parliament present and all esteemed state officials in attendance. In conclusion, Your Excellency will unveil and display an open ceremony copy of the Act, while other state officials shall bear closed copies, signifying both the solemnity and unity of purpose that define this important constitutional process. I thank you, Your Excellency.